Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
Welcome to Overwatch Central and welcome to Dorado. Fairly new Payload map, wasn't it? It was introduced on a stream with Elaheim and Haley Nick all this time. It was one of the first videos we actually covered, wasn't it?
Saying it's new is a bit of an
newish
over-exaggeration, really. I mean, it's out of all of the maps before the control maps, it's the newest one technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. So Dorado. This is, I mean, I've kind of grown to like this map more and more, honestly. I didn't really like it a lot at first,
yeah, me too,
but nowadays
definitely.
I like it a lot. So yeah, we're gonna do as per usual and go over attacking and defending. I'm gonna start with defending on Dorado. But right, let's get going and talk about defending on Dorado. This is the first area. As you can see, the spawn is right there, the payload is right there. So, as defenders, you really want to take this high ground straight away. A very popular thing to do is to actually stand exactly where Ryan is standing right now. So, a lot of people that defend on this map tend to get a Reinhardt, put him about right here, so you can cover with your shield from there to about here. And then just put a bunch of heroes behind, basically a few that can move around properly and a few that are sort of gonna stay around here. Yeah, so it can be popular to have a Mercy there, and then a Symmetra that's like down below, either like sort of dominating this archway probably, and yeah, that's the sort of general setup. So Reinhardt here, Symmetra down there, another support in the back, most likely Mercy, then maybe get a Soldier too to take down any Pharas and so on. That's a very sort of common setup for this start at least. Now in public matches you're gonna see a lot of people setting up here. Now, this might be a little bit frustrating at first, but honestly, this is pushing up a little bit too far, since you can be sort of sniped from spawn, even from the area where you can't actually kill any of the attackers, like way back there. This means that they just have a massive advantage, really. So it's a little bit too far in terms of pushing up, whilst over here you have a nice big health pack down there. You can fall back around in over here, like if the payload gets pushed under the archway. There are some decent teleporter spots too. And yeah, that's the general setup here. There's not really that much else to go through, other than when the payload passes through here, the same team that defended up here tend to back down around here and just try to sort of, you know, get their sort of bearings around the payload again. So start up there, move around down here, and then if the payload goes to all the way over here, you know, you can obviously make use of this walkway right here. But the flanks are very difficult to control on the start of this, well, if you've been pushed back all the way over here, basically, there are a lot of flanks and places you can get attacked from that Ryan is gonna go over. But yeah, that's pretty much the defending part of the first section of Dorado.
Cool, so we will start with the payload, as most people do on the attacking team. And generally, as Miska was saying, the people that are fairly clever and the pros tend to sit back on this position just because it gives them enough sight, and also because, like Gibraltar, like we went over, most teams will just give this up, right? So you will generally push it, you will try, like Miska, the defending team will try and get as many kills off as they possibly can. And once we get to about here, Miska will then retreat down this walkway and set up to this choke point here. And this is the biggest problem that you will have when attacking. If players have pushed all the way up here and think they're big and clever by holding you in spawn, there are so many options you could take to flank around them, and heroes like Reaper, McCree, those big hitting heroes, Roadhog as well, can use this walkway on the right, which can also lead up to a choke later on, which we'll show you, and then this route down the left. A good thing you can do as a Pharah, if they are set up here, is to just peek around this corner and just fire into the shield, because they don't really have sight with you and they have to sort of adjust to get you. But anyway, what I meant with the pushing further through chokes is you have this walkway on the left, which takes you all the way around behind this team. Me and Miska had a match on Dorado where we were defending, and a Reaper managed to sneak all the way around, and he completely disrupted us and got a couple of kills. And the main thing here that I must stress is how far it is for the defending team to run from spawn to get to this point again. So if you can get those pick-offs, it really will matter. If they're trying to pick you off as a Widowmaker there, then fair play to them. Do whatever. It's about a 10-meter run and a 10-second wait before you're back into the match. But anyway, let's talk about this choke, especially on Genji. The ability, if they're set up over there, you can sneak around here, and they actually only get sight from you for about a second before you can sneak through here. And as Miska's just shown you, this walkway to climb over or to jump over as a Pharah, teleport as a Reaper is a godsend. It's amazing because you can get behind the enemy and the defending team have a big issue of tunnel vision in here. And one big problem you're going to run into is a Symmetra, who is pretty much a must pick on this map of defense, just because you can set up turrets all around here, which will make trying to push through here with a big fat payload as well a big issue. This room will most likely be turreted up the wazoo as well in the corners, and also up here there's chances of teleport speed around there, up there, in here, behind that room down there. So Symmetra is an issue on this map for the attacking team.
Right, we're gonna go over to the next section though, and we're gonna try to go a little bit quicker actually this time, because this map is pretty long in the end. There's a lot of stuff to go through. But yeah, right away you come through this door, the payload's gonna come through and stop around probably right here. Very common setup here is either, like in a lot of public games you see a lot of people trying to dominate this low ground right here. Now, obviously me saying low ground should make at least a few of you react straight away, because having your defending team, at least the majority of it, on a low ground is not really a good play a lot of the time at least. You have the flank around there for the attackers that you can't really look out for a lot, because staying in here obviously is very far away from the payload track. So what a lot of people do is that they just dominate this high ground right here. So this allows Junkrat and so on to spam a little bit to slow down the attackers at first at least, which means that yeah, that initial push is not gonna like keep its momentum for too long. But a lot of the time you also see the defenders stay up here. This is very similar to Gibraltar again, just like before actually, around that first choke, that we have a sort of a bridge or whatever you want to call it over the payload track. There's a section on Gibraltar where you have the little bridge from the airship to the room on the side, and this is a very similar setup. This means that you're gonna have maybe a Reinhardt up here, or at least people that can actually jump down and kill the attackers if they are underneath this bridge. This corner as well is like home to a lot of fights on this map. Yeah, you'll see a lot of people try to, stick a lot of tanks around this sort of corner to make sure that the payload just doesn't roll through. Some anti-flank around here is also very common, and then have a sort of backline up here. This also works, and obviously when we do these map guides we don't just want to talk about competitive setups, we want to talk about public play too. And yeah, so having a sort of strong backline here is something to fall back onto, maybe even a Widowmaker in the back, or just your supports and then your tanks around here and your anti-flank to make sure that people don't just come running through these doorways. And do keep in mind as well that when in the bank, people can actually just run through here and then go through this door right here. And all of a sudden, they are like way behind the defending team. So, like I said earlier, you're gonna have a lot of fronts to fight on right here, which makes this area of the map kind of difficult. So the first one is pretty favored to defenders, and this one isn't nearly as favored. The last one, we'll get onto that in a little bit, but it's a little bit more towards the defensive side. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this section in particular. Make sure that you don't dedicate too much to the low ground basically, and that you have at least one high ground to fall back to or operate from mainly.
Yeah, so with attacking, like Miska said, it can be a little bit of a mess. It's quite hard to sort of formulate a really strong strategy to push through, because each fight will be different and each team will try and do different things. One thing that I do like about this map on attack is this little walkway here. You've got a big health pack over there, but you also have the ability to get behind the enemy team if they've pushed up to that common spot that Miska went over. This is great for flankers like Genji. A Farah can fly up to here and just throw some damage out, and once Miska spots and starts throwing back damage, you can push around again and just make, like, it's so minimal effort to actually get through there. But basically you want to be sort of almost pushing through. If people are here when you've taken the point, clear them out, because they really have nowhere to sort of go. It should be easy work if there's a Lucio up here to just kill him and quickly take him out. It's a lot easier for them to get to the payload than it was, especially when you get to the end of this checkpoint. It's not a far run for the defensive team, so you've got to be clinical with your eliminations and taking people out, and always go after that Mercy first. But yeah, generally you want to be pushing it to about here, then you can use this room to group up. You have a little health pack there that you can use to rejuvenate yourself. You got that one there as well. And generally, like Miska was saying, for the defending team you want to be up here. Soldiers want to be up here, Junkrats want to be up here, Farahs. So having a tank that can move fairly quickly between the points is great. Winston is fantastic on this point, just from his ability to jump up here, cause a bit of disruption. Farah can fly up, concussive shot people off the edge so they're on the low ground, and then it becomes a brawl. And to be fair, it probably favours the attacking team when there are heroes down here. They can make use of this room on the right. A lot of symmetrists like to set up stuff in here because it's a big sort of town hall. You have a small health pack there as well. And this upper point as well is quite useful as well. More so for defending than anything. I like coming up here, soldier, if the team are pushing to about here. Just getting some cheeky shots in on them. Maybe ulting from up here. They can't really do much to you. If you start taking damage, you can back off. You can even jump down there if you want to. But generally, you want to be taking this upper area away from the defending team and bully them onto this point and basically push Misko where he is now, and you want to be throwing damage back at him. They can't use this little wall as defense because you're pushing through, and they can't use this room because you can easily make it through there. So generally, yeah, as a summary, you want to be using this right route, especially you flankers. You want to be coming around this corner, and if they are unsuspecting people over here, coming in with an ult, or just clearing house, or even just adding a bit of disruption that you caused a Reinhardt who might be facing this way to go, huh? And then he's going to take a lot more damage, and basically you're going to ruin somebody's day by doing that. But yeah, generally that's it. Use this one, bully the enemy team on this high ground, use this open area as well, and this top area, and just bully them out of this bank, and they have nowhere to go. They have to retreat, and you will get this point.
Right, so we're on to the third area. This is how the health packs look in here. Like I said earlier, this area is obviously a little bit more like favored towards the defending side, simply because of the nature of payload maps, or most maps really. So when defending, the second point, or the last like objective, is always going to be in your favor because your spawn point is much closer to it. This is very much the case here too, but you still have to be very careful here for and look out for a few things. But you should also have a little bit more control at least than out there. So to begin with, you have this flank over here that a lot of the time people don't actually make a lot of use of in public play, it seems to me at least. You have the occasional hero that drops through here, but this is so open if you think about it. It's just a very sort of open area. There's no sort of, you know, crazy staircase you have to take up there or something. Any mobility hero with, like any hero with any sort of ability that can move them in a vertical way, like, you know, a double jump for Genji, a Winston jump, a wall climb, as even Hanzo, or like, you know, anything that allows you to get up here, even a Mei wall, will get you behind enemy line straight away and almost into their spawn. You know, their spawn point is literally right here. So yeah, you're behind there. So watch out for that when defending, because you might not expect it and dedicate too much to this sort of area, but make sure to keep that in mind. Right, but to talk about this main area where pretty much all of the like, you know, if you would look at a heat map, I'm guessing this is where you would see a lot of activity. So this bridge and high ground up here is very important. You will see a lot of the time like a Hanzo, or maybe a Widowmaker, or just any hero really, like Soldier can also benefit from this a lot, trying to dominate this high ground right here. And it's because it's, you know, it's very center in the room, and whilst you may seem very exposed at first because, you know, it's so open, the only heroes that you really are exposed to are the ones that are high up in the air. And those you will already, you know, if you're running a Soldier and you're up here, you already got a Soldier against a Pharah, which is, you know, favored towards Soldier, a lot of the time at least. So that means that you can just fall back and take cover like off the high ground. So as you can see right here, if there's someone standing right there and I'm on low health, I can simply duck back like this, and I'm not even off the high ground, and I've still taken cover. You know, there's a health pack back there that Ryan just like showed, and you also have a flank here that you can still keep an eye on if you're up here. So having a couple of heroes up here, like, you know, one or two, a Mercy that could fly in, like, you know, between the low ground and high ground is also very useful. And then just, you know, popping a couple tanks around this sort of area should be relatively solid. Just make sure to keep that flank in mind, like I said. But yeah, this is pretty much all there is to this area really, because the only flanks are down there, up there, and around there. And these two are, you know, somewhat easy to keep an eye out for, because the payload track is right here, and if you have a hero right here, they can see up there and down there. If you have a hero up here, they can see up here and down there. So you should have a relatively easy time controlling this area compared to the last one. Just keep that one in mind. That's pretty much it.
Sombra, interesting. Anyway, so generally with attacking on here, like Miska said, there's a lot of emphasis that goes onto this higher ground, and you just basically want to contest this mod, and ended up contesting the payload really, is that Genji's Pharahs want to be knocking off soldiers who like to be up here and to just put cover in fire. And as I said, the attacking team can tunnel vision a bit, the defending team can tunnel vision at the start as well, but just pushing this that they're not really noticing a soldier that can easily make his way over here through this room and activate his ultimate sights and just clear people from behind. There's not much they can do in that situation, so it's all about making sure that if you're pushing through here at pace, you know, you're killing people and you're going to push the payload, you know, like 3 or 4 minutes, which now and again does happen, that you don't tunnel vision too hard and just try and throw your bodies at it. One of the things you want to do is have a flanker take this high. You've got this big health pack here as well. This low area is good for cover as well. I think Mercies and stuff like to hiding here, so you want to be clearing this area out as you pass it if you can. But yeah, you want to be coming through this right entrance, taking this high ground. If there is a Widowmaker or a Pharah or something that's causing issues over here, they're very much exposed, especially if they haven't noticed you. You could just come in and just wreak havoc on them, and then they drop down, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It means that you have control of this high ground, and now you have the advantage in this fight because you have that sort of area to hide from. As Miska said before, this is awesome to have, especially as like a Genji or whatever, to just climb up here and to get behind. And pretty much that's it. It's just making use of and experimenting with your pushes. If one way doesn't work, then try the other one. Don't try and go in every single time doing the exact same thing, as it will just make it easier for them to deal with stuff. If they have a Junkrat, they will set traps up here to stop you, and they will burn you down. They will change heroes that can easily get up here if you're trying to push through. This back way is really good as well to use, of course. It gives you a little bit more cover to jump through, and generally good luck. It's a really sort of brawly area that you can have on this, especially with pushing on the last point. So good luck. If it's not working, have a look at your heroes, decide what you can do better, and that's pretty much everything. Have you got anything else to add, Miska, overall for Dorado?
No, I would say that's pretty much it. In terms of hero compositions, you can be, you know, somewhat experimental here. Some people like to even run Roadhog here, and you know, Roadhog and Reinhardt is pretty nice. Symmetry is pretty much always run for the first point, but you probably want to look at switching around if you lose the first point quickly as defenders. Other than that, no, I wouldn't say there's anything in particular. I mean, personally, I like running a McCree on defense here, but that's just a personal, you know, opinion or whatever.
Yeah, you definitely want some hit scan. But yeah, thanks for watching. Do let us know what map you would like us to cover next time in our map guides. And until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.